This Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are back to switch things up in Disney's Freakier Friday.
Totally. Yes.
It's an absolute riot, and the only movie that can be described as
So much weirder than the last time.
What last time?
it's the frequel
You ready?
we've been waiting for.
That absolutely slays.
What deeply out of touch old person came up with that?
You did.
Wow.
Don't miss the comedy event of the summer for all ages. Disney's Freakier Friday in theaters this Friday. Get tickets now. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
It's Wednesday, Addams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday, Season 2, begins August 6th, only on Netflix.
It's back to school season, and Clorox is donating 2 million disinfecting wipes to classrooms across America. Because back to school means things can get a little bit messy. Just ask second grade teacher Mr. Torres.
Put me and just one Clorox wipe on a team? We can take on crayon smudges, sticky fingerprints on every surface, sneezes on the door handle, juice box explosion by the sink, snack crumbs, and don't even get me started on the bathroom passes.
Clorox disinfecting wipes, teacher's #1 wipe.
Think about it. Bathroom passes.
Clean feels good. Based on unit sales data.
This series contains adult language and descriptions of graphic violence throughout. Listener discretion is advised.
Cavalry Audio.
Three, two, one. Welcome back, Murder Chronicles Nation. Hey, Carolyn.
Hi, Branden.
I'm Brandon Morgan. I produce the show for Carolyn, who is our inimitable writer, host, narrator, researcher, all things true crime. We don't deserve her talent, but yet we get to enjoy it every week. So thank you, Carolyn. Good to see you.
Boy, you're just, what do you want? That was like, you don't want me to tell everybody that you're eating red vines right now?
And
a Mountain Dew?
And honey mustard pretzels. So
oh my gosh, breakfast of champions.
Let's just be honest. No, I'm just super grateful that that I get to do this show. And this week's episode is ripped from the headlines. We mentioned it at the end of last week's bonus episode. And this week is all about the developments and, really almost up to the minute with where we're at with this terrible situation in Idaho with the Idaho murders. So great job pulling that together.
Yeah, I really was cursing you the entire time because
my job to push you. It's my job to push you.
Oh my gosh, I know. So thank you. I purposely avoided, you know how you've chastised me, like for the cases and like, I don't know how you do it. You psycho. Well, this case is like, so like, I didn't want to know anything about it. Because, from the get, you knew it was just going to be tragic. And as you know, I have 5 kids. The oldest is 22, youngest is 9. The oldest just graduated from college recently, and the second is a college student right now. And it's like, I didn't want to hear what these parents are going through because, again, it's like another worst nightmare where you really can't bubble wrap your kids. They're just like sleeping, minding their own beeswax, and suddenly this. And now we know the guy, and we can just know that this is a stranger who they probably had no idea that he was. Anyway, I don't want to jump ahead, but right back at you, Branden.
Fuck.
Right?
It's weird how our perspective changes, right? Like over time. Mm-hmm. When I was, 20 or 21, a friend of mine from high school died. She was at school. She was at college. And she died in a fire. And it was like the first one of our group who to die, right? We were all still kids. We're 20, 21 years old. And
well, Was it like a house fire?
It was really sad. She was dating a guy in a fraternity, and they were there was a party at the fraternity, and she had excused herself early because she had a test the next day, and she went up to her boyfriend's room to study and fell asleep and didn't like make a huge announcement. Hey, I'm going upstairs. She told like one person who also was leaving the party early. So no one knew where she was. Excuse me. No one knew where she was. And so they thought that they had gotten everybody out of the house, and they hadn't. And so when I'm 21, I was like, oh man, she didn't do anything wrong. A little bit of like survivor guilt, because by the time I was 21, I had done a lot of fucking shit wrong.
Same.
And Debbie was like an innocent, and so, and now years and years later, as a parent, I went, oh my God, kids going to school, of all of the things that you can do to put yourself in harm's way, to actually not be putting yourself in harm's way and still wind up, it's like, you're right. You can't fucking bubble wrap them. And that is just a terrifying perspective for a parent.
Well, and I knew once I started doing the deep dive and was going to hear those parents, I mean, it's like, I fucking knew it. And sure enough, it's like running the gamut of all the different stories, but they're all the same. They're just these good kids and they have full lives ahead of them. Like the one dad who's like,
she might get married. Yeah.
And you're right. You know what I'm talking about when he like says like she got to taste this first love, and it's
what
like
it was like to be loved. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you remember I mean, it's like, gosh, that first love of, and he recognized that, of living, staying with someone. It's like a totally different thing. It's just, and it's just tragic,
I'm telling you, the whole, like I said, pregame here, the whole last 5 minutes, it's a real dick punch, but I think it's important that we get that perspective, and we hear from, the real world consequences and the broken hearts and the lives that will never get put back together, what happens. But, we have the alleged guy.
We need to state from the get, like,
alleged.
Everyone is presumed, innocent. I know, but just to say it, like the guy, just because you've been, charged with something doesn't mean that you're guilty. And he,
your guest, the detective, wasn't quite as
I know, right?
Judicious with his allegeds as you're being. He basically has the guy, and I liked him because of that. But when you hear the numbers he's throwing around with regard to the DNA match, it's in the quadrillions or to the 50th power. That's more humans than have ever existed. Okay,
no, so he's a DNA dog.
Yeah,
like he knows his shit for sure. Yeah.
So let's talk about it a little bit, because I have one really kind of umbrella perspective of this that I gleaned from listening to the episode, and that is, I can kind of distill it to a question, like, how the fuck did police work happen 100 years ago? Like, let's say it's 1923, because every single thing that led to the alleged murderer's arrest was a result of technology that's not 20 years old yet. Okay. Ring cameras, right? Fucking ring cameras. I've had mine for like a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was a huge part of, they had like dozens of ring cameras from where he left from the neighborhood where the victims lived, like all of that, where they could get his timeline. So ring cameras, cell phone. Okay. Like at a traffic stop, they were able to get his cell phone, which he didn't have to give them. Like, that's something the cops kind of pressed him on.
Oh, that's interesting that you knew that.
So you don't have to. No, all you have to give is driver's license, registration, proof of insurance, period. That's it. You don't have to give anything else.
I know. Well, we know that okay. Well, based on what we know, the evidence, if he did do it, which we don't know for sure.
Right.
Allegedly, like, why was he getting pulled over so many times?
Like, well, that surprised the shit out of me. They were staged, according to your guy. He said, most likely they were staged so they could get shit like his cell phone number.
I know, but even the two before then, it's like, what? For somebody who's like supposed to be wanting to get into law enforcement, like what's happening here?
Yeah.
Like, you're not wearing your seatbelt. I mean, it seems like, okay. That just seems so weird. Is it hubris? Is it like,
I really don't know. I really don't know what it is, but I mean, in my 20s, I got pulled over all the fucking time because I was an idiot. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the last time I got pulled over, gosh, was probably 10 years ago, because one of my daughters was sick. She was throwing up in the back seat, and I gutter balled a bunch of cars to like make the light.
Yeah.
And it got pulled me over and still gave me a ticket. He saw the back seat like swimming in vomit, and he still gave me a ticket.
Oh
yeah,
my God. How did you not get out of that?
I don't know. Like the first time in my life, I wasn't lying to a cop.
I'm just shocked.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Still gave me a ticket.
I have been really lucky when I was younger and doing my shenanigans around that age, because I mean, I think, obviously they've changed since when we were kids, where, okay, she's a good kid, let's just let her drive away, but, they don't do that now,
Right. Yeah. They do. Gosh, I wouldn't know, because I haven't been.
You always got busted?
Always.
That's
because
so
well, because I wasn't nice, right? I wasn't nice.
Right. You gave attitude.
No, but just because cops like, where are you headed? What do you fucking care? Like, how's that going to help you give me whether or not you're going to give me a ticket, right? Where are you coming from? That way. Do what you're going to do. Just give me a ticket and fuck off.
But this is going to make you sick, because like one time I got pulled over, I've got two guys. I had a Mazda RX-7 back in the
I had an RX-7. I had a silver RX-7 with the wine velour interior. That was my car.
Yeah, I had a red one, so I was cool. Okay,
that rotary engine was great. All right,
oh
anyway.
my gosh,
Yeah,
right?
I loved it.
Okay, so we get pulled over. Got my friend riding shotgun, two guys in the back where there's a hatchback. There's
yeah. I've been there.
And they let us go, and the kids got back into the hatchback
with no seatbelts.
No seats.
I know, let alone no seatbelts, no seats. Right. Incredibly dangerous and illegal.
I know. I'm like, we're just going home. We're just going home.
Yeah.
I know.
And you bat your eyes, right? And you flick your hair, and we're just going home. That's it. Just going home. Of course.
Yes,
with
officer.
Me. Yeah, with me.
No, I mean, this would not happen. This would not happen today. I don't think.
There was one time I got pulled over. Well, there were two really funny stories actually. But one time, like, it was weird because I was so smug because I knew I hadn't done what they had expected of me of. Right. So I was like 18 or 19. Okay. And I had to go to my manager's house. When I was acting still, so I had to drop off new headshots. Okay. Because he had I was there, I was getting off of work. It was late at night. And so here's me just pulling up in front of his house. I run in with an envelope in my hand, right? Give him the envelope. I'm in there for like 30 seconds. I'm like, thanks, man. Thanks for staying up. Sorry, blah, blah, whatever. And then I leave. And as soon as I pull out onto the street, I get pulled over. And the cops are like, okay, where are the drugs? And I was like, search everything you want because I don't have shit, you dumbass. Right? And they're like, we know you do. You ran in there for 30 seconds. You had an envelope in your hand. And I'm trying to tell them, I'm like, go ask the guys, my manager, etc.
LA. This is LA. That's a plausible story.
And they didn't give a shit. They cuffed me and they sat me on the curb and they tore my car apart, taking the rugs out, everything. And they were so mad when they finally had to let me go. But it was scary.
That's
yeah.
Scary.
It was. Yeah, it was.
Because,
shit like that
in one of those stops, if you did something weird, like, hey, I didn't do anything, and they're like, oh, he's got a pencil in his hand, and it's
yeah, I know.
I mean, that could have been that could have been like all kinds of wrong.
Absolutely. It could have been all kinds of wrong. And if I had, I mean, I don't know, I'll probably end up cutting this out, but if my skin had been a different color, it might have gone a different way. Because this is the LA, this is post Rodney King LA. So the cops were maybe less prone to just jump in with their billy clubs, but we're also two white kids in Hollywood, so it was, it was weird. It was a, it was a weird time.
Did you have attitude?
I didn't, because I was really scared when the guns are drawn.
It sounds like you were really scared.
When the guns are drawn, I was scared shitless. Yeah. But regular traffic stops, I don't know, whatever. I've gotten nicer, I guess. But But so anyway, getting back to this, sorry for that diversion. So what I was saying was that, like, what did police do 100 years ago? Did people just get away with shit all the time? Unless you had like a Sherlock Holmes?
I think people got away with shit. And I also think that a lot of people were blamed for stuff that they didn't do, because I mean, how many times have we seen people who are like, I didn't do it. And they're like, he's good for it. And the family just hates the guy and he's like totally terrible. And then as it DNA is like, hey, he didn't do it, So I just think that a lot of, it's great that we have this technology, especially in this case.
No, you're right. Because imagine.
Because if they didn't have all that, they'd probably be looking at the boyfriends or something.
Or just arrest somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's close this.
When the community is like, you can see the panic setting in and how they feel that pressure to get someone, And I think this case is a really good example of how, a community can, kind of turn a little bit if stuff isn't, if a suspect isn't in hand,
So your guy had heard that there was a specific target, allegedly. Okay, that this guy was obsessed with one of the girls.
Yeah.
And that he was smart enough to turn his location services off on the night of the murder, but not smart enough to turn location services off when he was casing the place.
Right.
In the months leading up to it, the dipshit. Yeah.
I know. It's just hubris. It has to be. Like, wouldn't you? How would you? And that he actually wanted to be a police officer and help them in their forensic cloud. He had to know that it's all going into the cloud wherever you are.
Yeah. So we have to get to my what has become obligatory movie reference in every one of these. So
from the 90s, it can't be anything in the 2000s.
This is kind of a new one, actually, a new movie reference, but it's such a brilliant moment in cinema. But so something that the detective said jumped out at me, right? Like, because you had made a point, like, why leave someone alive? Okay. And he gave a couple of reasons. He said, maybe he was exhausted. Killing 6 people is a lot different than killing 4 people, right? Oh, shit. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye, baby. I'll be done in a little while. All right, backing up. So he gave several reasons for that. One of them was, he said that he was exhausted, because it's got to okay. You just stab 4 people to death. That's going to take it out. It's hard
to quantify it physically.
Agreed. Shit, you froze. You okay? Can you hear me? You froze for a second. I missed the last thing you said.
Yep. So yeah, it's hard to quantify it physically because it just seems so disgusting to say. But yeah, if you physically go through the motion of fighting and grappling and all that stuff, it's going to be exhausting.
Yeah. But then the other reason that he gave, which I found super interesting, was that he could have just been in this state where he didn't even realize that he was walking past somebody. Okay.
Yeah.
And that reminded me of this great moment in the movie Road to Perdition, Tom Hanks, where he plays, a 1920s era gangster, like hitman. Okay. Directed by the great Sam Mendes. And it's one of Daniel Craig's earlier films, where Daniel Craig, like, the inciting incident is that Daniel Craig wants to take over the crime family, blah, blah, blah. And he goes to Tom Hanks's house and kills his family, kills his wife and kills his youngest son. His oldest son was hiding in the car. Tom Hanks wasn't home. And so the like 12-year-old boy is coming up to the back door, and he's frozen and he's framed in this window, and he's looking through the window, and he sees Daniel Craig still all frothy from fucking murder. Okay. And Daniel Craig comes up to the window and looks right out the window and is looking right in the kid's eyes. And the kid's like, oh shit, he sees me. But then the camera comes around, and what Daniel Craig is doing is looking at his own reflection. making sure he doesn't have blood on him, and he fixes his tie, doesn't see that there's the witness an inch away from him, because that he can't see that far, right? And I was like, holy shit, that the moment in cinema kind of blew my mind. The psychological kind of examination of someone in that heightened state I found super interesting. And to hear the detective maybe ascribe that to the murderer in this case, why he would leave someone that looked right at him. He had bushy fucking eyebrows, like that close.
Right. They were close.
And
Yeah.
leave her alive. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all of those things. I mean, it sounds harsh to say, why did he leave her alive? I mean, thankfully he did, but it is odd. But I think the whole thing is odd. Like if Kaylee could have been the alleged target and then the others are just collateral damage, it's just horrifying to think. And then he's just like, I'm out of here because this didn't go. I don't know. I mean, it seems like he was in there like 20 minutes. I mean, 20 minutes to take 4 lives.
We'll be back after a quick break.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. When you visit the doctor, you probably hand over your insurance, your ID, and contact details. It's just one of the many places that has your personal info. And if any of them accidentally expose it, you could be at risk for identity theft. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second. If you become a victim, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year at lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
So it's man. So Kaylee, let's just for the sake of argument, Kaylee's the alleged target. Do you think he goes to her first? Probably. If he's going there just to kill one person, that's what he would do. And then maybe somebody wakes up and so, well, shit, I got to kill her. Okay. And then.
Well, another thing, I just want to throw a couple of things in there. Kaylee and Maddie, separately, they don't, they have their own personalities and they have separate identities and they don't look exactly alike. But at that time of the morning, early morning in the darkish, I don't know if it was light or dark or what that is. You could you could mistake one for the other. So there's that. They were found in Maddie's bed. Both Kaylee and Maddie, I guess, slept on the 3rd floor, and then Xana and Ethan were on the 2nd floor. So it's hard to know if he went after Xana and Ethan first on the 2nd floor and then went after Kaylee and Maddie. I don't know, but it's like, seems like there's a lot of, all this will hopefully be cleared up, but there's a lot of confusion. Like, why would he go into those bedrooms when there were 2 other people in the home as well? That,
right. Ooh. So he walks right past someone who could identify him, even though he's wearing a mask. And then the way that your guest was able to just piece things together was really fascinating. How the alleged intentional traffic stops. Okay, let's get his driver's license. Let's see if it matches the description that we have from the girl. That was really great. Get the guy to give up his phone number. Okay. So then they could dump all of his phone records.
Well, here's the thing. I think they had done that
earlier.
Prior to from those earlier stops. So he's stopped for these traffic citations earlier, like back in August and back in, I think, October. And in fact, I think the one in October, that traffic stop, he was probably, or could have been, he was in that neighborhood. So he could have been stalking him that night and got pulled over. So in one of those stops, they were able to, they just got his phone number, just like, hey, let me give you my phone number. I mean, they had no idea that he had murderous.
And that's what's weird about cops. See, this is when the pendulum swings back to cops are dicks, right? Because they try to get they're allowed to like lie to you, and they're allowed to ask you for whatever you want, even if it violates or if it even begins to trespass on your Fourth Amendment, right? Like I could ask, asking under the color of law, or are you just asking us, hey, give me your number because I think you're cute? No, you're wearing a police uniform. You're asking under the color of law. What's your cell phone number? And how do they treat you if you say, I don't think I have to give that? Well, it has to go in my report. Like, is that true? I don't think that's true. It doesn't have to go. You're saying you can't file your report unless you put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What do you give a shit what my phone number is? Like, what's the law that says I have to give you my cell phone number?
And I think he freely offered it because I don't think that they can, what they could probably do, and this is me just anecdotally saying this, is like, oh, hey, can I get your phone number? Just so, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but for the important thing is what's the blah, blah, blah.
I know, but see, you would be the person to ask that question, and you'd be like, no, fuck you. I'm not giving you my phone number.
Yeah, for what?
We know unless guns are drawn, and then that everything.
And then I'll do whatever. And then I'll do whatever the fuck you want. Right.
I know, exactly. I mean, I think it was so casual and so like they had no idea, and it was just like officer friendly. Hey, I want to be a police officer too. Okay, here's my phone number. Right.
But then it was classic. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that was a huge piece of the puzzle because they were able to dump all of his phone records and figure out exactly what he was doing. They could have
gotten his cell phone in so many other ways. They just had it right there. So it was perfect. And he was none the wiser to be able to like, hey, this is happening. So I don't see that as, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're a criminal with, planning on doing stuff in the future, don't give them your cell phone. But for the rest of us, or
hey. What if you're just what about the use it or lose it with regard to your civil rights? Because if you push back a little bit, even a little bit, it's like at a traffic stop. Like if a cop asks you, so where are you headed? Like they don't need to know that. Yeah. They don't need to know that. And if you say it's none of your business,
you don't need to tell them.
Then all of a sudden you're being uncooperative. Like that's what comes next. You're being uncooperative. Why am I being uncooperative? How come you're not the one who's pushing me to defend my civil rights?
You know the game, Branden. You know the game, and you're smart enough to know, like, hey, I'm not playing your game. I'm not giving you my number. I'm not telling you where I'm going.
Yeah.
But search my car.
But then there will be punitive kind of repercussions. I'm sure. I'm sure there will.
And especially if you're not, and especially if you have the color of skin that we.
But so they're saying, so go along with us.
You can do that.
Cooperate with us, right? I mean, relinquish a little portion of your civil rights, so I don't have to consider you an uncooperative subject, and then we'll let you go. That's not worth it for me. It's not worth it for me. But,
I hear both sides because I also think that, it's like if in a perfect world, you're trying to be helpful, like we want to be helpful. When they ask us this information, we don't, and if we think that they're not going to use it against us, but then you said, they can and they will.
Unfortunately, Attorneys will tell you you're being helpful. It could turn around. Well, how do you know so much about this?
Oh, I know. Yeah. And that's why whenever I look at all of these cases or watch any show or anything, I always look at it under the lens of if that were me. Like, what would I say to the police? Like, I don't assume that people are guilty because, they could not be guilty. And what if I found myself in that situation? And I would want people to, give me the benefit of the doubt,
It's a fine line. I mean, just within these episodes, within the last 5 episodes of these that we've done, I've gone to all these extremes. Like fucking cops are awesome because they trick people into thinking that I'm your friend, so you can, all the way up to the point where you want me at your trial. Ha, dumbass, fry. Or
I think you just said it's too pejorative to say that they're
duplicitous. Right. But now here I'm like, you don't want my number? Fuck you. I'm not giving my phone number. Right. It's so weird. I hear it. I want you to know I'm aware of that. I'm being an idiot.
Way. I know. Yeah. And you accused me of fangirling. So it's like, I get it. I'm on both sides too, where it's like, every case is unique and individual, and the criminals and the alleged suspects and the police, it's an individual thing. It's not, all police are good and all criminals are bad, or all criminals, it's not like that. I mean, I look at it as an individual, and a person is innocent until proven proven otherwise. Yeah. And taking into account our confirmation bias, which we've talked about in previous episodes as well.
Well, speaking of you fangirling, who's my favorite part by far in this whole episode is he goes, "What was this guy's name?" Like, Bianchi, Kemper, fucking serial killer bingo. Here's Carolyn with her arm up. I got it. Ooh, me.
I'm trying to be helpful, okay? I'm an expert in true crime podcasts.
Yeah. And your serial killers. Telling you, he goes, tall guy, friends with cops, like Ed. You mean Ed?
Because I actually edited out like a bunch of these things where we were like, we were like banding back and forth, and we were just like bonding over it. Like, yeah, he killed his mother. Yeah.
Yeah, that part stayed in actually. That was so it was interesting, but it's always great to see someone passionate about their work. So I just thought that was funny. And I only know those names from that great show Mindhunter. Was that
Wasn't
good?
That amazing?
Oh my gosh. Again, well,
love that show.
That's man, Fincher only did, I think, the first 2 episodes, but he put his mark on that whole series. That was great. Really good show.
I can't even believe that it got canceled. Like, I'm just like, more.
Season 2 dropped off a little bit for me. Season 1 was just riveting, and it ended with him and Kemper in that room. That fucking blew me away. Season 2 got a little,
not
just not as focused, Yeah. But
I mean, they were doing such groundbreaking work, and to get people to buy in on, let's look at the mind, let's look at the data, let's look at these guys. It seems like, of course now, but back then, given how it's like, well, we got to do it, we've got our process and we got to do it this way. And then to have them say, hey, we're solving this and this is why. And so then to slowly have people, buy into it, I think is really powerful,
Yeah, agree. I agree. So, again, it was like I mentioned earlier, the detective you were speaking with, whose bona fides are legit, like how long he'd been doing shit. I'm like, oh my gosh, he knows what he's doing. Coming up with and what I was saying earlier about how technology played a role every step of the way in getting this guy up to and including DNA. And people are like, DNA's been around forever, like from OJ in like 94 and before that. Sure. But what they have now is that it's enough for a warrant to arrest somebody through his father's DNA. The dad had nothing to do with any of it, right? They go through his trash, they get his DNA, and they find out that there's a 1 in a fucking bazillion chance that it's his male child. And that's it. And like, the judge is like, oh, okay, yeah, fuck yeah, great, go get him. And so, and then they swab this guy's cheek and they get to the 1 in 1 quintillionth chance that it's him,
Well, they haven't released that yet.
Right. But what he was saying was that's probably what you will get to the 50th power. And so he was like, I don't know what this guy's going to do. They don't have an insanity defense in Idaho. So he's pretty well fucked.
Yeah.
Stopped short of saying that.
Yeah. I mean, and he probably did say it, and I just took it out because that's good. But yeah. Okay. I mean, he's very, has a very dry sense of
humor. Do you see the rescue kittens?
You know what's so crazy? I didn't want to interrupt you, but I'm like, Carolyn, stop. I was like focusing on them because they were doing this weird, like cuddling thing.
They're brothers. They're brothers.
Okay, are they brothers?
These are the ones that we found under the bridge, and we got them a home, and we got them all tested, and the people adopted them, but they already had a vacation to Miami on the books, so we said we'll watch them while they're out of town. So
they're tight.
They've taken over my office, and look, they have little collars with air tags in them. Look at that.
What are the AirTags for? Did we say that they were cats? I don't know if we mentioned.
Yeah. They're little. They're 6-month-old brothers.
They're
You
so
know, the
cute.
Apple AirTag. Oh, right, you're an Android person. So Apple has these they're like AirTags. They're like tiles. They're like little thin quarter-sized things that you get on your, and then you could track them on your phone. Right. So like if I could share Ghost's location. Ghost is this white one. I could share Ghost's location with you, and you could just watch him running around like a fucking moron in my office if you wanted to from your phone. Yeah, it's great. So yeah, they're doing really well. We haven't integrated.
So you're tracking the cats within
well,
your
they
home.
are. The new owners are like really like want to make sure the cats are okay. We haven't integrated them with our cats yet. I don't think we're going to. It's not going to be here that long, but yeah, that's what they're doing. All right, so I think that covered everything that I wanted to cover. And then he kind of bummed me out at the end when he's like, "It'll be years before this goes to trial." Years. Yeah. Why is that?
Oh my gosh, this is going to be a huge case. I mean, they have to get all their ducks in a row. They've got to, it's going to be a trial. I mean, unless the guy wants to plead. I mean, you have
a right to a fair and speedy trial, right? Isn't that the...
He waived his right to a fair and speedy trial, or he waived something that made it. He waived something that they could, where it doesn't have to happen right away. It buys them all more time for the defense to put their case together and for the prosecution to put their. I mean, just think about all the DNA. Just think about all of the. It's going to be huge. It's going to be
the 6th or the 7th Amendment. Do you know the 10th Amendment? The first 10. Do you know the Bill of Rights?
I mean, I know I'm just a on Capitol Hill.
That has nothing to do with the Bill of Rights.
So what makes you think of that now in relationship to this case? Does it have
the right to a fair and speedy trial, which I think is 6. It's either 6 or 7. One has to do with criminal, and one has to do with civil. Because 4 is right against illegal search and seizure. 5 is the right against self-incrimination. Okay. And then 6 has to do with, I think, with criminal trials, where like you have the right to confront your accuser, and you have the right to have a lawyer present during questioning at all times. And, and then 7, I think, is civil trials, where anything over like $20, any civil matter over $20, you could go to a trial for, So when I hear that it's going to take years to get to a trial, I'm like, well, but I didn't know that he had waived that right.
Yeah. So Kohberger waived that right. And that makes sense for both sides. He needs to get his team figured out what they're going to come up with, you know, and then, you got to imagine all the prep work on this thing. It's like,
will it go to a trial?
4 people were murdered,
I got to think he'll end up pleading it out just to avoid the fucking needle, right?
I mean, Cloyd pretty much set it up. Like, they might not even have that option for him to do that, but who knows? I mean, they might not want to do it because it's going to be super expensive. And so if he agrees to, let me look at Gary Ridgway. I mean, that's what he did. He made a plea deal, saved his life, and, spilled his guts. And so, they're probably hoping that he'll do that too, but they have to go through all of the iterations to figure out, like, what's going to be his best in his best interest.
Do they have the death penalty in Idaho?
That's what Cloyd was saying, that yeah, they do. And I heard in the newscast, or with the judge who was sentenced, or charging him with 4 counts of murder and then a charge of burglary, and she said this is the death penalty. And so that was something. So
well, it was a really nice job that you did there. And you kind of combined all of the kind of disparate news reports that have been going on for the last few months and gave us a really concise snapshot of where this case is right now. Because we're probably not going to get anything new for a while, but I'd love for you to just do some drop-ins if any big thing comes up, because that's going to be the criminal case that everyone's going to be following, I would imagine, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that there's going to be things that they'll release, more details about what happened, and, was there a relationship at all between any of the victims and Kohberger? Did he have a reason to be in that area? Does he have some brother that has same DNA, all of these things that, we'll find out.
Better have good answers to those questions.
Right. I know.
Yes, I had a great reason to be there. I was stalking someone.
Well,
What else
and
do you say?
they've actually, the New York Times just came out with this thing where people are, kind of talking about, just kind of how strange he is and his behavior and, just all that stuff.
Wow. Well, again, I got to go for a run or something and shake off those last few minutes of that podcast and listen to some stupid comedy or something, because that really, that hit me really hard.
Which one? You're talking about the victims' families?
Yeah.
Which one?
All of them, because I'm either thinking about myself as a dad or thinking about my mom, thinking about me or my brother. So it was just, yeah. I mean, it's important and it's powerful, and I think it's necessary that, the human cost is, because, I come on here and I fuck around and act like an asshole, but, it's serious,
Yeah, it really is
serious stuff. And I try to hide that, having to deal with that behind comedy and stuff sometimes, but, or an attempt at comedy, but that, that was something that I really kind of just sat back and just kind of let it kind of flow over me and feel it and, let it flow and let it go. But, it's a serious thing. So it was a good episode. It was a really good episode. What do you, can I ask you what's next? Or are you going to yell at me?
Just because you said it like that, I'm not going to tell you.
Fair enough. I deserve that. All right.
Wait and see.
Well, I will look forward to being surprised. All right. Well, everybody, thank you again for putting up with me and for listening to our bonus content. We appreciate the listen. Thank you. Please.
You know what? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I think because I'm so inspired by what you were saying, I'm going to do the whole next episode on the Bill of Rights.
I'll help. That would be great. That would be great. The 8th Amendment to the Constitution, if 5 and 6 don't go well in your trial, it protects you against...
Okay, stop.
No.
Stop.
You're protected against cruel and unusual punishment. That's 8.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, okay. Which is why we need to stop now and stop the audience from having to go to sleep. No, these are really important. I'm actually super impressed.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please keep the feedback coming. We appreciate it. Any ideas that you might have for a show, please email the Murder Chronicles at cavalrymedia.com. Carolyn, you have anything to say?
Thank you so much for listening. And, Brandon and I love that point that you made that, we kind of hide behind humor sometimes to kind of take the edge off, but we do recognize and, always do try to be respectful with the stories that we tell. And so, I think it's important to remind everybody that, we try to have fun, but we do really, really care about these cases and the people and the victims and their families.
Agreed. Well, as always, well done. Thank you. Looking forward to next week. And we hope that y'all catch up with us then.
The Murder Chronicles is a Cavalry audio production recorded live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We're produced by Brandon Morgan and myself. Our executive producers are Dana Brunetti and Keegan Rosenberger. Josh Windish edited and mixed this episode. Music by Soundstripe. For Cavalry Audio, I'm Carolyn Osorio, your writer and host. Thanks for listening.